Yeah, I was just thinking, guys, I think Manny can beat Ugas in the rematch. I hope they do a rematch. I was one of the people that wanted Pacquiao to retire after he beat Furman and after I saw his performance against Ugas. But, you know, the more I think about this fight, I mean, no disrespect, obviously, to Holyfield, but I mean, that was a case of father time seriously catching up against Vito Belfort. That was embarrassing. That's something that you never want to see. But if you look at Pacquiao's performance, he didn't embarrass himself at all. He just lost the fight. He lost a close fight. Ugas boxed a really good fight. My personal judgment of the fight and overview was that Ugas outboxed Pacquiao at certain phases of the fight. He didn't outbox him in every single round of every single minute. And I thought Pacquiao, he won the war in certain periods, but Ugas just looked a bit too consistent for Pacquiao to get the decision, but it was close, and the fact that Pacquiao threw over 800 punches and Ugas threw half that, and Manny still had his hand speed. And I'm not making excuses for Pacquiao, right? I know people don't like that in boxing, neither do I, but let's just take into consideration the account that Pacquiao was being honest about the leg cramps. It would explain why Pacquiao still has lightning hand speed, even though he's going to almost be 43, 42 at that point. And for some reason, his legs just completely didn't seem to be there. It was like he was in cement. And with all those negatives, Pacquiao was still able to hold his own in the fight. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get stopped. He didn't get battered. He didn't get embarrassed. You could say that he maybe even outclassed is a bit of is kind of like an exaggeration, but I can kind of live with that. Maybe Ugas slightly outclassed him in the boxing department, and the key was kind of Ugas's jab and his reach, and you could see he had a game plan. But let's be honest here, Pacquiao went into that fight. It's hard not to do it, underestimating Ugas. It was kind of like a coming out fight for Pacquiao. It was a disappointment that we didn't get the Spence fight. Pacquiao had trained his arse off for that, training for a southpaw. I know people say Pacquiao has been fighting, orthodox fighters all his life, but still, that's going to affect anyone. If you've been training for a southpaw, you've been training for a specific person for 11 or 12 weeks, and then a week before the fighter pulls out of one of the biggest fights in boxing and in both of their careers, Pacquiao and Spence, and then you kind of got a replacement with Ugas, who's a little bit of an unknown. He's had a close decision with some fighters. They know that he was a decent opponent, but we never really saw Ugas as a Crawford or a Spence or an elite fighter. And maybe we were wrong, but obviously all credit to Ugas. But I still feel now, Pacquiao preparing for Ugas, he's been in with him. He knows what to expect. He knows the mistakes he made. He knows Ugas's weaknesses as well. And I think Pacquiao has got a really good chance of pulling it off and beating him if he does rematch him in December or January. Now, of course, you could say the same for Ugas. Many people will say, well, Ugas beat Pacquiao. He'll be confident he can do it again. But I think that could go against Ugas. If Ugas underestimates Pacquiao the same way I feel Pacquiao's whole team underestimated Ugas, then you know what Manny's like. And we've seen it, right? Manny didn't have a great performance against Jeff Horn, even though he clearly won that fight, and I think he got robbed. And then he had kind of like a better performance against when he knocked out Matisse. Then with Adrian Broner, I thought he looked good. I didn't think it was an amazing performance, but it was a solid performance. He clearly won that fight. Then he goes into the Furman fight and has a fantastic performance. So, Pacquiao has kind of proven to do that at the end of his career. But listen, he's not in his prime anymore, Pacquiao. Father time is creeping up. But I do agree with Teddy Atlas, and I didn't quite agree with him at the start, but Atlas knows probably more about boxing than most people. Atlas said, I don't think Father Time caught up with Manny yet. Manny still looked good. Manny performed well. It was a close fight. It could have gone Manny's way. I know a lot of people would have said, robbery, no, Ugas won that. But, Manny threw 800 to Ugas's 400. And I know Pacquiao was missing with a lot, but he was landing as well. If you look at the replays and you watch the fight carefully and you don't get so caught up in just you know, what Ugas is doing and how Ugas is landing. I mean, he never really hurt Pacquiao, did he? He didn't put him down. Pacquiao never looked hurt, but he did outbox Pacquiao quite consistently in periods of the fight. But Pacquiao did outwork him, and if his legs are working and he's got his legs underneath him, I can't see Ugas beating Pacquiao, not with the amount of work rate and not with, yeah, I mean, if I'm going to make, not an excuse, but I think, you know, Ugas beat Pacquiao because he was right in front of him, you know, because of the leg cramps or maybe Father Time a little bit catching up. Pacquiao was kind of like a sitting, standing target where he's never usually like that. But listen, all credit to Ugas. But I think Manny would win the next one. I hope they do a next one because I'm quite confident. But I don't think Ugas is going to, you never know, but I don't think Pacquiao's going to get hurt by Ugas. He's not that sort of, but he's not a massive puncher. He's not a concussive puncher like a Crawford or a Canelo or a Spence. He's not really, he's more of a, he's a very good boxer. More from what I see, the sort of elite level Cuban amateur style boxing of hit and not get hit, nice jab, good fundamentals, but doesn't really do anything fantastic other than that. And I think, you know, just an on-form Pacquiao will beat him. Will overwhelm him and get to him. And he did get to Ugas because the faces don't lie in boxing. Look at Ugas's face. Because when I first saw the fight, I kind of got caught up in, oh, look how much success Ugas is having, and then Manny's face was marked up. But when I saw Ugas's face, I was like, shit, Pacquiao must have landed a lot on his face because he's got, you know, swollen eyes and that. But I think this will be a fantastic fight. I think most of the fans will want to see it because of the nature of how the first fight went. But I'm not quite sure what Pacquiao's going to do. Do any of you know more about the decision? Because I kind of don't know. You know, just from what I've heard, apparently he's going to take the rematch, but nothing's in stone. But yeah, it'd be great. I'll really be up for that fight. And if Pacquiao wins that'd be brilliant. Listen, Pacquiao loses, then he'll just retire off into the sunset. Still one of the greatest of all time. Having another loss ain't going to do nothing to his resume. Obviously, if he just kept going on and kept getting knocked out, even that wouldn't be great. But you can't take away an 8-weight world champion, and you know the amount of weight divisions he's won, and he beat some legends and been in so many great fights. So you can't undo that history. That's there forever to stay. So I'd like to see this fight. I kind of see it as a you know, it's kind of a win-win for Pacquiao. He can't really lose. I think after losing now, do you know what I mean? If he loses again, it'd be like, oh well, you know, he had his time. Ugas got him at the right time, and if Pacquiao wins, it'd be like, oh my God, you know, Pacquiao's amazing. He's pulled off another good victory. But I would like to see this fight. I would like to see how Ugas adapts and how Pacquiao adapts to him, being that they've been in with each other. I'm always fascinated with rematches, and when you think about it, Pacquiao has been in quite a lot of rematches and, you know, rubber matches in his career, and he's done really well. So I always wanted to see Pacquiao fight Mayweather again, or for them to do it 3 times, so that didn't happen. So yeah, it would be a shame if Pacquiao retired now and didn't get to see him kind of more prepared for Ugas, and hopefully they can sort out his legs. And if they can't sort his legs out and it happens again, then you'll just have to say no excuses. It's Pacquiao's age, or you know, it's an injury, and that's not Ugas's fault. But if he does come in and his legs are fine, you know, I'll be buzzing. I'll be happy because it'll be like, well, it was genuine. You see, it wasn't excuses or lies on Team Pacquiao's part. But we'll have to wait and see anyway. Let me know your thoughts in the box below. Some of you have said already on my channel you think Pacquiao will win. Let me know who you think will win and how they're winning, what style, you know, kind of what game plans you think they'll go about. And I don't know if Justin Fortune's going to be working with Pacquiao anymore. I heard he split with Freddie Roach, which is a shame. It's a shame when things like that happen, when people start, you know, trainers fall out and blame each other because of a loss and things. It's ego seems to get the best of people sometimes. But yeah, that's my thoughts and feeling on it. And I hope there is another fight, because it'll be nice for me to have more of an excuse to do more of these videos. All right, so I'll speak to you guys soon. Become fearless.